Hey, what's good, dog? What's a better way to get back into making videos by talking about the exact same thing I talked about last time? That's right, we're coming back at you with a part 2 of ranting about the Chronic Notebook.
Here we go again.
How to respond to medical gaslighting and dismissal. Some scenarios and answers. You look well, or you're too young to have that. Explain how your looks are not reflective of how you feel and they should be aware of this as medical professionals. Explain how age is not a factor in many different chronic conditions as illnesses. Ask if they are refusing to treat or investigate you because of age. If so, ask for that on record. You see, I got a kidney stone when I was 13, and everyone told me, how do you have a kidney stone at 13? That's way too young. I don't know, but it just happened. It is what it is. So I can confirm you can have all kinds of health problems and chronic issues at, surprising ages. Because some people like me can be so unhealthy that they might as well be in their 40s. There's nothing more we can do. Stop visiting us, you stupid motherhecka. Come prepared with a list of tests and treatments they have not yet tried, proving that this is not the case. If they refuse for unclear reasons, ask why you are being denied access to treatments and tests which may improve your quality of life. Isn't it the doctor's duty to care to fully do all they can? Hey, if a doctor can't help you, then a doctor can't help you. They probably don't have the funds to keep on treating one patient that probably is gonna kill themselves anyway.
People ask how I'm doing. Very suicidal.
Hey, you never know, I'm just saying. Speaks over you. Wait for them to finish speaking. Once they do, say, I'd like to speak for the next few minutes without interruptions so that I can fully explain. If they continue to interrupt you, express that you do not feel like you are being given the chance to voice your concerns you feel like they are brushing you off unprofessionally. I get the tactic of being rude or forceful to get your way, like a lot of people do it. But I don't know, mate, reading this just rubbed me the wrong way. This post is half brainless and half intelligent. Our friend Nia here is trying her hardest to influence all of these little baby girls reading this into being forceful social justice warriors that will not stand for oppression as patients. On the surface, that's not like the worst thing in the world. Like, hey, pop off queen, I'm glad you're getting your way by yelling at the doctor. Stand up for yourself. But there's just some scenarios where you might as well just not even say anything because the doctor is not going to listen to you. You're not the professional, they are. People are no less chronically ill or disabled if they do these things. Are working. Not working isn't always a choice chronically ill and disabled people have. They work to pay the bills, not because it's easy. It often makes their symptoms worse. Don't see why not. Are wearing makeup. It can take a lot of energy for a chronically ill person to apply makeup. Makeup covers up the sick, tired look. That's literally how makeup works. I mean, yeah, I don't know why you have to mention that, but okay, very specific. Pop off queen, material girl. Are wearing a nice outfit. Chronically ill and disabled people can express themselves via fashion and style. This doesn't mean that they are well, as it often takes them a long time to get ready and dressed up. I mean, obviously, again, I don't know why you have to mention that. Like, is this post for stupid people that just learned what mental health meant? You know, the 5-year-olds, remember that? Are on social media. Social media is a main method of connection and communication for chronically ill and disabled people who may be isolated or spend more time at home due to their conditions. Posting once doesn't mean they have the energy to be on social media 24/7. Obviously, I don't know what you're trying to say. I think she just ran out of ideas for the post here. Are pursuing hobbies. Chronically ill and disabled people may pursue hobbies such as art, craft, music, makeup, gaming, reading, writing, and sports. This doesn't mean they are well. They often have to limit or give up many of these activities. They have a right to partake in them as much as they can. Obviously. Are making jokes and smiling. Chronically ill and disabled people, like anyone, can enjoy the company of others, laugh, and appear happy on the outside, but that doesn't mean they aren't struggling on the inside with symptoms and pain. We can all relate to this. For the most part, you have to put up a happy face for the people that you appreciate in your life. And maybe even the people that you don't appreciate in your life, you just don't want to get smacked. But yeah, this last slide is a good thing for anyone at any age to know. Just because someone's all happy, prancing, dancing, whatever, it doesn't mean that they're the happiest person in the world all of a sudden. It's either their way of coping with their problems, or they're putting up a happy face in order for no one to be worried about them. I don't know, with posts like this, it kind of has me worried with what kind of people follow this account. Like, they're probably really, really young, and Nia knows that. And so they need to educate these little 5-year-olds. So let's take a look at the comments. These are so accurate, and I definitely have stopped wearing makeup to doctor's appointments because I feel like I have to look a certain way to believe it. It's sick. So brilliant. So well put. It's something I have worked on and will always work on, not allowing the validation of my health via anyone else doesn't know everything. Ignorance is on them and people need to keep it zipped if they are basing judgment off perception. Thank you. Feel this so much at the moment. I'm so confused about these qualifying rules. What qualifying rules?
Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the f up.
I think doctors are intelligent enough to know that if someone pulls up to their office with a bunch of makeup, that doesn't mean that they're totally fine and they don't even need to be there. Like, did they attend college for 8 years for nothing? Like, come on, they can't be that dumb. Literally, it's all in your head. You guys are just insecure. What's wrong with being insecure? I don't know. When people go as far as to make everything like this a big deal, it's just, that's when it's a problem, you know? Now, this next post is a very special one to me. This is the first post I've ever seen on this account, and I was very disappointed to realize that it did not cover it in my last video, so I'm covering it now. This is probably the dumbest post I have seen on this whole page. As a disabled advocate, I am very offended by this post. Things society should stop expecting from chronically ill and disabled people. A thread. I even went as far as to go on a Twitter rant about this when I first saw it. Them to overcome their condition or disability in an inspirational way to prove their worth to society. I honestly think that doing this is a supportive and good thing. There are all kinds of people with conditions that feel totally worthless. And a few words of inspiration can totally get them back on their feet. I mean, whatever they have for transport. To push through their pain and symptoms to do something which would massively worsen them or cause flare. The only reason why anyone would make disabled people do something they physically can't do is if they don't know that they're disabled. You pretty much have to be an evil person to force a disabled person to do something they physically can't do. And if you do this, then you're a stinky ploopy. To get used to their chronic illness or disability because they've been living with it for a long time. It doesn't work that way. New challenges often arise. This one's honestly 50-50. Only someone stupid would say this, but there are some stupid people in the world, so telling a disabled person to get used to it is something that could totally happen. The same level of physical, mental, and emotional availability as others. More rest time will be needed for someone living with a chronic condition. I totally agree. I'm literally in an adaptive class for English 2 and geometry. And I can tell you, it is very beneficial in the sense that I am not overwhelmed with the workload, because I am mentally deficient.
I have autism.
Avoid using mobility aids because they're only for older people or they're a sign they've given up. They aren't. Who are you to say that someone can't use a mobility aid, whatever that is, just because it's only for old people to use? Saying that is literally as annoying as someone saying, oh, you can't have dreadlocks as a white person because that's appropriating black culture. Yeah, when I hear stuff like that, it's just... This post is very special to me because not only does it have some legitimate advice in here, the rest of it is just... Let's go over one more post, shall we? This video is getting way too long. I've been recording for a whole hour, just so you know. Why the way society treats the undiagnosed needs to change. A thread. I haven't actually read this before recording, so this is a live reaction. People label those with undiagnosed symptoms as fakers or wanting to be sick. The phenomenon of doing this is actually rare, and it's far more likely that someone hasn't had the true cause of their symptoms found. You could easily say that people doing this is rare, but if you look at TikTok, there are so many people faking disabilities all over the place. So let's not pretend that it doesn't exist. This label is dangerous medically, but also incredibly isolating. Those living with undiagnosed symptoms often find it difficult to confide in people about their feelings for fear of being ridiculed. Okay, a label's not going to do anything. It's a label. It's not a physical thing. And for stuff like this, it's important that people are isolated for it, so the right people can come in, being doctors, and give the right diagnostics and right treatment. That's the short version of my explanation. Despite knowing this fact, those with ongoing continual symptoms who seek medical advice for them are treated as if they are making up their symptoms or exaggerating after a certain period of time. Okay, it's very hard to confirm whether or not this can be true because again, it depends on the situation. But please do not be discouraged from trying to seek help when you really need help and you know for a fact you have real symptoms and whatevers. The worst that can happen is no one ends up actually taking you seriously. Once a medical professional, loved one, or colleague has formed that opinion, it is extremely difficult for the undiagnosed person to be taken seriously and access proper care. This often has irreversible health consequences. I mean, okay. If and when that person is diagnosed years later, they usually do not receive an apology for the medical trauma, gaslighting, and stigmatization they have faced. This is not acceptable or fair. I mean, why should they? They were just doing their job. Like, they don't have to apologize. It's not their fault that you're, like, sensitive or whatever. This all takes a massive toll on the mental health of the person with undiagnosed symptoms. They have to fight hard for years to be taken seriously, often with no support, worsening pain and increasing financial costs. In many scenarios, yes. There is no support for those with undiagnosed symptoms within the medical systems or mental health care. There are no guidelines on how to treat people with them. There are no support groups, charities, booklets, helpliness, awareness campaigns. If you want support, you have to go get diagnosed. You're not just going to get like all this free stuff without even saying anything. Cause watch, when you go around saying that you have undiagnosed symptoms, people are gonna be like, okay, so let's go get you diagnosed. And then boom, problem solved. You literally made this up in your head. What did I just read here? People with undiagnosed symptoms are worthy of support, care, advice, respect, and deserve to be treated better. It's very common for chronic illness and conditions to take many years to be diagnosed and very rare for people to fake illness and symptoms. They're worthy of support once they get diagnosed. You don't want to waste so many doctors' time on people where they don't even know whether or not they have an actual disability or illness. Getting diagnosed for anything can usually take just one doctor's visit. I don't know why you're getting diagnosed by a doctor is such a scary thing and it's traumatizing. There's no point in getting legitimate professional help until they know for a fact that you need the help, just like all the other people that are getting help. Were you drunk while writing this? Were you up at 4 a.m. 6 hours past your bedtime? Like, come on, bro. This whole post took a very brainless turn out of nowhere at the very end. Let me take a moment to add on to my statement here. According to Nia, it can take up to 10 years to get diagnosed, but it really depends on what it is. So in that sense, many people can easily see it as unfair that they don't get special treatment while still being undiagnosed. It wasn't until I was in 7th grade when my school and my parents found out I apparently had autism and a reading disorder. But did I deserve special treatment before I was officially diagnosed as mentally deficient? In my opinion, no. So stop being a crybaby because the world doesn't revolve around you. Editor Teeks here, don't mind my nasally voice, I'm kinda sick right now from allergies while wrapping up this video. And my final statement for this video can be seen as very deep, so listen closely everyone. So here's something a lot of people like Nia probably don't understand. In a lot of scenarios, you're not always gonna get special treatment. But of course, I am the one who's been saying to always listen to your doctor and various medical professionals because only they know what's best for you. So if your doctor is the one telling you to do absolutely anything that might come off as a little annoying towards others while venting about your mental health or various other issues, then in my opinion that's the only way it can be valid. And here's why. A lot of people become very self-centered as they transition into a phase of feeling different compared to everyone else. They feel as if they're special in their own way, but in reality they're just the same as everyone else that feel exactly like them. But even though they actively shed light among everyone else in the world with the exact same problems or conditions as them, that still doesn't take away their entitledness. I guess what I'm saying is the world doesn't give a rat's booty cheek about you. No matter how special you feel, you don't deserve to be worshipped for having an opinion or even an outrageous view on the world compared to everyone else. We all have the freedom to be proud about being in a specific group of people, so that shouldn't take away what is said about anyone's basic human rights. But in that sense, why should anyone have special privileges for being different? Sure, when you're the president, you have the responsibility over a whole country, so of course you need those special privileges over everyone else. But why should people be seen differently for being chronically ill or physically disabled? Why should people treat you nicer before the doctor says that they should? This logic is situational, of course. Like when you literally can't walk, you obviously need a wheelchair to move around. And if you're old, then someone could be kind enough to give up their seat so you can rest your legs. So is my conclusion that Nia creates these Instagram posts because she's self-centered? I don't know. What does she think? I can only say so much because I'm not allowed to judge people based on perception. I'm not intending to direct this video to her via linking it through DMs or something, but in case if she does see this, which is very unlikely, I'm just going to leave the question to be answered by her. Nia, are you a self-centered individual that believes in aggressive double standards and censorship? Well, I guess that's all I wanted to talk about today. I don't know what I'm going to possibly talk about next for the next video, but it's definitely not going to be this. I clearly need a break from Instagram. Follow all the social media. Bye-bye.